but the same one looks good, so like fine. Okay, welcome back. So, once upon a time there was a polynomial p, okay, and anyways. So first of all, like, there are answers that aren't stupid. Namely, if p of n is equal to n to any exponent, let's say any, well, actually constant is fine too. Like, this is always okay. Like, the order of, so that's fine. I think what this means is that I need to the catch is that, okay, the catch is this: by Artin's primitive element theorem, infinitely often you can make this equal to, like, if I fix n and pn, you can infinitely many often make this equal to p minus 1, assuming p of, like, p is not a perfect power, which you can. If the polynomial p itself is not a perfect power, I can always guarantee that actually, hang on a moment. One mod p. But, like, basically Artin's conjecture, which we think is true, probably suggests that there shouldn't be any solutions other than pn equals n to the e. One other condition I think this requires is that if n is congruent to, if I take any prime, if like n is congruent to 1 mod q, this forces either p of n to be congruent to 0 or 1 mod q. And I don't think there are that many polynomials that do this. Right? Probably not. Actually, this doesn't tell us that much. This just says p of 1 is 0 or 1 mod q. Okay, never mind. They're a little opportunistic there. Are there other good numbers? P of minus 1 is minus 1, 0, 1. Okay, anyways. I think what this tells us is that p of 1 and p of minus 1 both have to be inside this set. Those are kind of like the two stupid ones. And they should be the same parity. Yeah, iterating p I think is good as well. So you fix a large enough integer n, and then if you keep doing this chain, it's like n, p of n, p of n, assuming you don't hit 0. But I should be not too hard to avoid hitting 0, I would hope. Because the thing is, you can choose any prime p. Like, you can, like, start with p of n and then generate an infinite sequence. And then you would need this sequence to, like, be really stable modulo almost any prime. Chevolterov. I think the other way you can try to force things is if you take Like if you take n to be a square, for example, this tells you that p of n squared is never a primitive root. That seems unlikely to me if p of n isn't like very specifically chosen. Right, because we think there's about there's a lot of primitive roots mod p. There's like phi of p minus one of them or so. Okay, maybe not a lot, but like for generic random primes, you expect there to be quite a few primitive roots. It would be very strange if all of those somehow were ugh. The problem is I can only get so far with like 1 and minus 1, right? The most naive thing you can do is make this order either 1 or 2, because then you actually know the residue, but then the problem is the only constraints that imposes are these constraints. I mean, which are constraints, but they're not that good. And then things start really like 3, for example, right? Like if I take an integer n for which I know the order is 3, like you fix any n, right? You can get any order you want. Like you fix n, then p of n to the then for all p dividing n to the d minus 1, like p of n better will have bound. So for example, if I take prime factors of n squared plus n plus 1, then the order of p of n has to be pretty small as well, right? Like it's also at most 3. That doesn't feel very likely to me. Find q of n equals p of n squared. It's never a primitive. Yeah, like for example, p of n squared is not. The reason I want to avoid primitive roots is because I think we don't have enough. Like it's too hard to guarantee a number is a primitive root, unless what you're doing is you fix the right hand side first and then. You fix the right hand side first or something like that. There are some outputs and then, but for any, if I give you a random integer, there's no way you can guarantee it's a primitive root. Conversely, if I pick a random integer, you don't have any promise that if I pick a random primitive root, like if I say like g mod p for some p, I don't think there's really any way to guarantee there's an n for which p of n is like g mod p. Surely if ord A, at least ord B. I think that's probably true. I agree that is probably true. Which it does hold for all p, right? Is the point. Like it holds for all p other than the divisor of A and B. So like for cofinally many primes. And I agree that's like it better imply A is a power of B. There's no chance that's not the case. Because in particular if they're different or they don't. Yeah, if they're different and they're just like anything, then Artin's primitive root conjecture seems like you should be able to promise that B is primitive. Can take a prime divisor of a to the p minus b. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to try to do this with 3 first, like, although I guess there's no reason why we can't use q for like, but, yeah, actually there's no reason we can't use q. Like this says if, I'm going to run out of primes. Let's fix any prime L. We'll let L be the order, alright? Choose L prime. And then, like, let n be literally anything, and then look at the number, like... Look at the cyclotomic polynomial of n. So, when I look at a prime p dividing this thing, like, p better be 1 mod L. Let's say n is not 1 mod L because that... I just want to exclude that case. Or, hang on, how does this work? Yeah, when I say n is 1 mod L, then that implies every prime is p is 1 mod L. What I do is, this implies p of n to the L minus 1 plus p of 1 has order less than or equal to... Well, okay, it implies this. This is what happens, right? P of n. Because we know... Wait. Oh, shit. Or I can imply like P of n is 1 mod L. P of n could be 1 mod P, or it divides that thing. The point is it should divide P to the n to the L minus 1. So do I believe that? Maybe it's a little premature to think about cyclotomics. Like I could just say like, if P divides n to the L minus 1, then P divides P of n to the L minus 1, or P of n. Might be easier to work with like this, right? And like I get to choose all of NLP, so I have a ton of power. This says what? The radical? By Cheb, let cyclotomic polynomial have L minus 1 roots. Okay, so you want to take do you care about the... Okay. So you're saying by Chebyshev density, I should pick a prime P such that the polynomial splits completely mod P into into distinct linear factors. Yeah, I'm not sure that... I'm not sure. Well, honestly, I might be better off with... Oh, there's so many ors. It's... I agree P of n is probably a power... Like, I think this orange thing is pretty strong, right? Like in general, if you have two polynomials a and b, if I take an irreducible polynomial z dividing a, I ought to be able to, and it doesn't divide b, then the GCD of these things is bounded, right? So actually, I think this implies like every irreducible factor of, and this thing is irreducible over the integers for L prime. Like this thing actually divides this thing for every, or this like, I don't know, this thing times like P of n minus 1, or times P, like you have the stupid correction factors or whatever. But this is also a bounded, like this thing is bounded, right? Like it's given. So if I pick L big enough, then this is a large area for every large prime L. Yeah, Bezout implies it. So for every large prime L, this polynomial has to divide this polynomial. That is actually true. If there is an irreducible, if you have, well, in this case, A is irreducible. But if A doesn't divide B, then A is co-prime to B, and then the GCD is bounded, which is impossible because every non-stupid polynomial has unbounded prime factors. So I think this is our in. This feels pretty good because this is a statement that you can actually work with now. Even for n equals 2, this statement feels really strong. Because once you have division, now I can start plugging in roots of unity, right? Keep taking out roots. What do you mean take out roots? I'm overloading the variable n, but I'm not sorry about that. Anyways, what we've learned is that for every sufficiently large prime L, then we actually have a division of polynomials, not just of integers anymore. Like this polynomial divides p of x to the L minus 1, and sorry, this should end with plus 1. Plus 1. And equivalently, what that means is that if zeta is a primitive Lth root of unity, then p of zeta to the L minus 1 plus p of zeta to the 1 plus 1 is actually equal to 0. Which, I mean, you can make this cleaner, right? Like, well, in fact, I'm not going to be really nice, but I'm just like p to the p of zeta to the L is equal to 1. So in other words, if zeta is a primitive root of unity, then p of zeta must be a corresponding primitive root of unity. That is extremely unlikely. And there is a good reason for this. I think I've seen, this is a problem in int poly, right? Or there's a problem like this in int poly that says something like this, which is that if if you have a linear combination of roots of unity and all the Galois conjugates are, it surely finishes by taking large enough L. I mean, probably. But also, like, this is like one of my favorite poems in int poly. This is the one about oh, so the statement I'm remembering is a little different. It tells you that it's a root of unity, which is what we already have. But like, also, come on, like, this has to be. L minus 2. Oh, I see. If L is much larger than the degree of P, you're saying that if L is larger than the degree of P, then the roots of unity up until degree P should be linearly independent of each other. Like the minimal polynomial, there's no polynomial relation between them. But you also know that it's an Lth root of unity, right? So it's like if the coefficients of P are fixed, if p of x is some integer polynomial that looks like 0 plus AD to the x to the d, then what this is saying is that you have like this large L such that this is true, and then AD to the zeta to the d. For zeta, you know, this thing is like going to be really close to 1. And then this has to, like, you know, there's some, you're told that this is equal to zeta to some other power. And you're betting that this can't happen. Because so now that gets a little, like, linear independence is based on how bad the degrees of the polynomial are. It's harder, I think, to say that, like, your shortest expand p of x to the L, then isn't all coefficient but one must be 0? No. Like, linear independence is based usually on the degree of the largest thing that shows up. It's not based on the number of terms you have. I agree, it seems implausible that if L is very large relative to D, then it's like, you know, you have this small combination and it miraculously equals like the you know, some other root of unity. PZ maps to another, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. So that might actually do it. Which is you say that P permutes the roots of unity. All coefficients but 1 are 0. Maybe not permutes. No, it should be a permutation, right? Or, okay, 1 is a little weird. Yeah, okay. X equals... Linear... What's the linear independence you're claiming? Oh, I see. You're saying that one of them should equal... Oh, okay. So the way you can make star small is that you have some powers of zeta. Wait, but no, those numbers might still be large. Right, if I plug in zeta to the... Oh, fuck. Like, so you have some integer k such that this is true, right? Like, you have your polynomial, you have this assertion. If you replace the zeta with other zetas, like, the powers still change, right? Like, it's just saying that, Wait a minute. What the heck? Do I just not know my... I think I don't know my number theory. The minimal polynomial is the cyclotomic one. Yeah, you're right. So it has to be the zero polynomial. Yeah, that should work. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. No, you're totally fine. I was thinking of the wrong thing. Sorry, I think my problem is that I've spent too much time like grading BAY cyclotomic, where I keep having to tell people that like you can have like, I don't know, 7 30th roots of unity that sum to 0 or whatever. But L is prime here, so everything's fine. The minimal polynomial when L is prime really is the cyclotomic. So this claim is that this thing has to be, once I subtract this off, it has to be, all the other coefficients have to be 0, and it's okay. Yeah, no, this is fine. L is prime. L is prime. L is not a composite number, so it's okay. Alright, cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, let's type this up. Alright, I think this is fine, and I'll... Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was told this was hard, and I was like, oh no. I'm gonna have to stay up, but this is pretty reasonable. Do I have a code for Korea winter? I think I want to standardize the code for Korea winter at some point, because these practice tests look pretty good actually. This is like... Well, we can do that later. All right. Okay, so we can say the answer is P of n equals n to the degree P only. Where'd you get degree? I mean, like the problem is primitive roots are too hard, okay? There's no way in hell you can ever guarantee a random numbers of primitive root. Cyclotomic is good because, like, basically you have this inequality, right? It's like order of n mod p is at least the order of p of n mod p. And if you want this statement to say a lot, there's two strategies. But one of them is to make the right-hand side really big, so you want the order of p of n mod p to be large. That's the same as saying, for example, p of n is a primitive root. You can't guarantee that. We don't have the tools to do it. The other is to make the left-hand side small. And I was trying to do it with 2 at first, but the idea is that if you make the order of n either 1 or L, then... Wait a minute. Why did we agree it was... Hang on. Where did we get L minus 1 from here? Like, can't the order be random numbers? Like, the order doesn't obviously divide L, right? P of n's order is unrelated to n. Hang on, shit. P divides n to the L minus 1. Yeah? I mean, sure, like, but the order of n will be 1 or L. But the order of P of n doesn't divide... Like, this is divisible, this is at least. So it doesn't... Like, you have to deal with everything from... Oh, shit. That increases the degree a lot, I think. I think it still works because what you do is you like take all the products of all the cyclotomics. L to be the smallest divisor. Well, that never happens because the smallest divisor is always 2. I mean... So, okay, there's a hacky way that you can fix this, which is you require P to be minus 1 modulo, like, L factorial. Yeah, second smallest divisor. So then you have an extra, like, 2, and it's annoying. I think the other way that you fix it is that, I think if you just combine, like, everything up to L here, it's also okay. Like, I don't really think that makes a difference. But I'm just going to use Dirichlet. It's fine. I don't mind using Dirichlet. For the other direction, let L be a prime much larger with, say, L is greater than twice. Let's just make it a lot bigger than the degree of P. All right, I don't really care. We assume P is non-constant. Like, constant K should be easy, right? You can... Yeah, constant K is very easy. So we consider a large... then we consider primes for P for which... So we want P to be 3 mod 4 and P to be... modulo. Oh, we'll just do this. N equals 0 plug is sus? Why? I have divisibility as polynomial, right? Claim for this prime I had to pick. Oh, Shiba. Damn it. Okay, never mind. The Dirichlet fix doesn't help either. I think I have to do it this way. Crap. Okay, so for any integer x, if we take a prime dividing x to the L minus 1, then x, oh no, it is n has order either L or 1 or L mod p. Consequently, for any p dividing n to the L minus 1 plus 1, we find that the order of p of n modulo p is at most L. So either p divides p of n or the order consequently p also divides. So in other words, p divides p of x minus 1 that phi now phi is an irreducible polynomial, and we contend. Do I have to worry about phi dividing p of n? There was some reason I threw it out here. Yeah, because it's larger degree. Yeah, that's fine. Has to divide one of factors p of x. Right. Or if not, then because phi must divide p of x, the phi is coprime to each of the polynomial shape p of x is k minus 1, and then because of Bézier lemma, that causes the GCD to be bounded. On the other hand, by Schur theorem, I think is what it's called, phi achieves arbitrarily large that for each k there exists 0 to k to L a constant ck such that Pn to the k minus 1 Pn divide ck is right less than equal to. So, okay, but on the other hand, by Schur theorem, phi achieves arbitrarily large prime factors, prime divisors in its range. Oh, this is a contradiction. Once it's certainly larger than C1. Contradiction. Okay. Hence, one of the factors the degree of P is less than the degree of P. Okay, and now now what? Okay, the finish is a little rough now, because previously I got confused and I thought this was like L, but it's actually K, which is a little awkward. I suppose K is an integer which is less than or equal to L, so that L is prime, though. Anyways, now let zeta be a primitive Lth root of unity. Then P of zeta is a primitive kth root of unity. I'm ready to pull out some nukes because I don't. I agree it can't be one. From the preceding this divisibility. I want to argue that it's actually an Lth root of unity. Or at least like an L factorial root of unity or something. Oh no, it's not good. Okay, but actually k has to equal L, right? There's no chance that like you can take a bunch of like cube roots of unity and have them if they're not one. Right, like the degrees of the extension don't mesh up. Like they just don't work. Right? Right? Like that, like there's no way you can combine like some fifth roots of unity to get like a third root of unity, for example. You could get like first or second, I guess. Like plus minus one, but like you can't. Like I can't combine like 19th roots of unity to get a cube root of unity. Because the degree of the extension isn't correct. Or is it? No, hang on, something's weird. This is a P of zeta is in Q. Q adjoins zeta. There's a kth root of unity. And Q, like the degree of the extension Q zeta to Q, it better be exactly L minus. It's L minus 1, isn't it? Oh no, I hate this. Like, can you make cube roots of unity? Like, can you make a primitive cube root of unity out of like fifth roots of unity? Is that a thing you can do? I feel like it should be no. But I'm not actually 100%. Do I need that? Can I sidestep this somehow by just being like? Freaking heck. Omega is a. We're gonna okay. From the divisibility above. So if zeta is a primitive k-elf root of unity, or let's just say LCM k-elf. Oh no. Right, because the reason this worked earlier was because we assumed we were able to get k was equal to L, or something analogous to it. And when you do that, then you can this quotient p of x minus x to the r. Yeah, but this is the thing I was worried about earlier. Before I was like, no, it's fine because it's a cyclotomic. Crap. So I either need to prove k equals L, or I need something better about bound on this R. Because I don't. Botany. So okay. But okay, like I know it's like if I have primitive like Lth roots of unity, like primitive 19th roots of unity can't make. Oh no, they can. Hang on. This is that shit that Gauss did or whatever, right? Like the. If I have primitive 5th roots of unity, can I make primitive? No, you can't make cube roots though, right? Oh, hang on, I'm really confused now. Confusion has struck me. The degree of P is a lot smaller than the degree of L by construction. Can I get some number theory? Like, no, divisibility goes the wrong way. P of P colon x to the K. Wait, what? What's your zeta? Is zeta your crap. Damn it. I feel like I need to know a little more about how cyclotomic intersections, but like the prime one really should. No. Can I? Oh, Shiva. I really don't want to do an LCMK. I didn't want it to be hard. I wanted to finish early today. God damn. What am I missing here? It's gotta be true that... Oh, god damn it. What's the issue? So, but I have to type it to you. I really want it to be an L3 Divinity as well. I really don't want this case thing, because then if I have to increase the extension size, then the primitive, like the degrees of the... Ah, crap. But also, it's gotta be... I can also vary the prime L, but I don't know if that helps, because I'm already taking... I take a large prime L. Can I reduce mod x to the L? Like if I take all the exponents... if k is large compared... If k is close to L in size, U of is going to be super annoying. Take P, which is -1 mod L, and... But I don't control P, right? Like, I'm extracting P from the prime factors of the cyclotomic. There's no... Well, I guess I'm using sure. Yeah, Jesus Christ. You can by directly. Because the primes P have to come from phi. In this argument, or are you saying we do the argument again, and then it's like, okay, now pick a prime P, which is once you have the divisibility, pick a prime P. I see. So you should pick. I should pick P first and then pick the integer n. Okay, fine. I think that should work. Yeah, I think that'll work. Right. Like, I don't need to use Schur theorem here because my polynomial is explicit. I just need to take something of the right order. P so that P is like 3 mod 4 and P is not congruent to 1 mod Q for any prime 3 between QS and L. For every such P, we can find N such that right, for every such P we can find N such that P divides phi of N because we simply by taking G to be a primitive root P is 1 mod Q, mod L. And for every such P you can by simply by primitive root onto low P and choosing N is G to the like P minus 1 over L or whatever. Oh, this is the quantifiers are really. Okay, well, no, let's get the order of the quantifiers right, okay? Now, because phi is large degree, it is co-prime to both irreducible and has large degree. It is co-prime to both P of N and P of N minus 1. Hence, there exists a constant C such that GCD of phi Pn Okay, the order of this proof is horrendous. I'm sorry. That phi does not divide p of x to the l minus 1. Then there exists a constant c. For all in by Bézier lemma. Okay. So for each n, if we take so choose a prime p large enough that we also take the prime p. So I don't even need infinite primes. I just take one prime. For this p, we can find n such that this n we have consequently. Okay, now I delete all this shit. Now p has to divide one of these factors. It doesn't divide p of n or p n minus 1 by construction. And it divides, and if it divided for some k less than l, okay, we're going to make this squared. Let's co-prime to Pn. Order of Pn modulo P would be a divisor because of our choice constraints on this would force the order to be at most 2. Actually, that's not as... I'm not gonna... We're gonna try to write this without contradiction. Hence, choose prime p large. Such that p is greater than c. P is not 1 mod q, and p is 1 mod l. There are infinitely many such primes. Virtually. Virtually. For each, and then for each such p, for that n, divides p of n minus 1. So in other words, we have shown there are arbitrarily large primes such that p divides p of n and p of n to the l minus 1 for some l. Oh my god. This is going to be in poly? Yeah, for sure. We chose p carefully. seconds. X divides p to the x to the L minus 1. Okay, now we can use the argument that I had. So however, phi is the okay. Via the Zubi outside. I mean, actually, I'm just gonna drop this. Via the same as the arguments. For some d less than L minus 1. Is much less than L. Last step of the argument. It would not work if we instead had p of x. May not be so well behaved. That's why in the proof of the claim elaborate condition. the issue above. Ah, Jesus. Yeah, I was not paying attention. Alright, anyways, okay. I think this is fine now. Yeah, good problem, but also, God. Ugh, I'm so annoyed. Thanks, yeah. I should be scared of the problem because, like, yeah, there's some wrong solutions. Yeah, okay, someone ran into the exact same mistake I did. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. I think Stroller is a past student of mine, so 6 years later I made the exact same mistake my student did. Don't know if that says something. What was at least 40 to... I don't think it's 45. I feel like... The problem is long and you have to be careful, but it doesn't have the terror factor that I sometimes... Like, sometimes I like look at solutions and I'm like, I don't know how I was supposed to think of like I'd never come up with that. And this is not one of them. Like, the whole time I was like, this feels right. This feels reasonable. I feel like I follow my instincts. It's doing the right thing. You have to not screw up like I did, so you have to be careful. And you have to know your material well. But I don't think any steps in here are magical. Like, every step here felt like, yeah, that's... There's nothing about the solution that really surprises me. Maybe I'll put it that way. Okay, we're done. Now we're actually done. Oh my god, that was rough. When you're old, you become slow. I think that's what we concluded today. Okay, I'm not doing any more math. That is... I was hoping to finish this problem at like 10. Now it's like 11. SMH.